All right, there are some people in the state of Missouri who want to legalize medical marijuana, and it's not crazy fringe people. It's actually people who are elected to represent us. Missouri House of Representative David Hinson is with us. He's a Republican from the St. Clair, Missouri area who has introduced a medical marijuana bill. Good morning, Mr. Hinson. Dave Hinson, are you there?
I am.
Thanks for joining us. What do you think the odds are of getting this all the way through both houses and then having it signed by the governor?
Well, I think the chances are fairly good. I've been getting a lot of support from my colleagues over in the House, and have been speaking with some of the key people in the Senate. Actually, the Senate last year passed a version of my bill out of a Senate committee on general law, so they're kind of familiar with the issue already. And with us passing the CBD oil legislation last year, there's been the building that has been talking about this for quite some time now.
Yeah. There's an overwhelming number of Republicans elected to the House and the Senate, and basically their message is of personal individual freedom. There's no more greater personal individual freedom than a doctor and a patient deciding on what's the best cause of action, including marijuana. So what's the opposition in the House and the Senate to passing a bill that would make marijuana legal for doctors to prescribe to patients?
Well, for years, since the 1930s, marijuana has been an illegal drug in our country. Even though in the 1970s, President Nixon formed a commission to study it, and the commission came back and said that people should be able to use marijuana and possess it in small amounts, but because of political reasons, Nixon and Congress wouldn't do anything about it. So debate's been around a long time, and recently, a few years ago, when the federal government came out and said that they wouldn't pursue states or individuals that are using it for medical use, that's really what got the ball started with states looking at the doctor-patient relationship and then being able to use marijuana for treatment.
So what are you hearing as an opposition as to why this bill won't pass? What are some of your colleagues saying the reason why they won't vote for this?
Well, the biggest reason is law enforcement. Is against it because it is a Schedule I illegal drug, and the other is some people say there's just not enough data out there or research that shows that it actually works. But just like any other medication, not all medications work for the same people.
Also, we have medical-grade opium and medical-grade heroin, basically, as a painkiller. Nobody wants to take that off the shelves. Nobody wants to tell a doctor they can't prescribe that, which is much more dangerous than medical marijuana.
You're exactly right, and that's what I've been using as an argument to people that, heroin is killing people in the St. Louis area every day, and so are opiate-based narcotics that people are overusing, but you rarely hear of someone dying from a marijuana overdose.
How much are you worried? Well, there are people out there who are saying, great, medical marijuana is just going to make it open the door for legalizing marijuana as a recreational drug here in Missouri.
Well, in my bill, I've taken a lot of steps to try to tighten that down, and one of those is that we will not allow people to grow in their own homes. They will have to go to a dispensary to receive it, and the dispensary and the cultivation center will be tied together. So when people walk in, it'll be just like they're walking into a pharmacy to purchase it. So I think that'll cut down on all that. And I'm against the flat-out legalization of marijuana. One is because of the impaired driving, and there's really no way for law enforcement to adequately test for it like they can for DWI alongside the road with a breathalyzer and that. But I think everybody can form their own opinions on it, but there's people that's using it every day right now in our state for recreational use. So I don't see this causing an explosion of more people doing it for recreational.
Dave Hinson, Missouri House Representative, Republican. You're a freedom-loving guy, right? You're for smaller government. You're for government.
I definitely am.
You're for government getting out of my way, right?
I am.
So how come I can't get stoned on a Saturday night in my house?
Well, I mean, one is still, it is a illegal drug in our country. If we change that,
right? But I mean, that's government coming into my home, telling me I can't do something in the privacy of my own home. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm doing it for my own pleasure. You, as the government, shouldn't be allowed to tell me what I can and can't do in the privacy of my own home.
Well, and there's people that are exercising that right now.
Illegal.
In their own home,
we put people in,
coming in,
but we put people in jail because they smoke marijuana recreationally.
I agree with that, and you'll also have judges that'll tell you they'd rather us do something like what the city of Columbia has done and make it a fine rather than making it a criminalized offense facing jail time.
Would you be in favor of legalizing marijuana recreationally in the state?
I would not. No, at this point, I wouldn't do that. I've seen the data that's come back from Colorado, what's happened there, but theirs is a little bit different. They went with a constitutional amendment put on by the people rather than their General Assembly doing something like that, and now they've been trying to rein it in with regulation. So I think we would have to wait and see what happens out there.
Are you in favor? Are you in favor of locking people up and arresting them and putting them in jail for months and years at a time for smoking marijuana?
I think if you're in the privacy of your own home, and there's no one that can be offended by it, then that's up to you. But I don't think if you're out trying to make a profit off of it, that that should be legal and you should be prosecuted for it. But as far as if you're sitting in your own home, not bugging anyone else, whatever you decide to do there, that is totally up to you.
But how are they going to be able to do that if they can't get it through someone who can sell it legally? They have to get it illegally.
They can't grow it and they can't buy it, but if they're smoking it, more power to them. You understand the weird contortionist's position we're putting people in.
I definitely understand. I face these questions every day with handling a bill exactly like this. Right.
What are the odds of this getting on the governor's desk by the end of the session?
Well, I think they're very, very, very good. We've got the momentum in the House, and I believe we're starting to gain that in the Senate also. And I think it's very likely that it'll get to the governor's desk. I've been having some conversations with his staff to see where he's at on the issue. So I think they're starting to realize that my bill has some momentum. So hopefully I can get an answer from them here in a few short weeks on their opinions with the bill.
Dave Hinson, House member of Missouri, who is sponsoring a medical marijuana bill. Dave, we'll follow you along and come back and fill us in on how it's going.
Thank you very much.
You got it. 7:31 here, Big 550,